All right. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to Zoom at 8. My name is Julianne Peterson. I'm with Old Capital Lending, and I am your host tonight and every Tuesday night for Zoom at 8. I'm so excited to have Michael and Samantha Guthrie in the house with us, you guys. We are up for a real treat. We've not had high net worth individuals who are going to share their story. You know, sometimes we think, you know what, we're not good enough. We're not big enough. We can't relate to them, but I will tell you, you are up for a great treat. When we listen to their story. My goodness, you guys are going to be thrilled to know and understand what's going on for them. But in the meantime, I want to welcome you all to tonight from Michael and Samantha Guthrie. All right, we've never had high net worth individuals like these guys on the Zoom at 8. All right, and you know what? They put their pants on just like you and I. All right, they are so relatable. And it's a real treat to know them. Our time together, we don't have a tenure yet, but we're working on it. But I wanted you guys to all meet them because they have quite a story. Michael and Samantha Guthrie, they live close by me in California, by the way, are general partners in the multifamily syndication in Texas and have invested in over 20 multifamily syndications representing 5,600 doors across multiple markets. The Guthries have successfully owned and operated a $1 million automated teller machine distributorship, automated ATM solutions incorporated for 26 years, almost as long as I've been alive, and currently run nearly 9,000 ATMs nationwide, providing a residual income stream used for multifamily investing. They have 23 years of real estate investing in experience in single family, multifamily, and commercial real estate. Their additional experience includes real estate sales, mortgage brokering, and property management of apartments in single family homes. They also have helped secure, demo, design, and remodel an 18,000 square foot of commercial building, turning it into lower level floor retail and condominiums in Spokane, Washington. After realizing the advantages of multifamily investing for themselves, they have made it their mission to provide others with an avenue to passive income. So I am excited. Thank you so much for being here, Michael and Samantha Guthrie. There you are. Okay, now, and Samantha. Okay, hey, you guys, welcome to Zoom at 8. You're virgins of the Zoom at 8. How are you tonight?
I think we're doing fantastic, and that is absolutely correct. We are virgins for Zoom at 8.
Yeah, and you were a little speechless, but you recovered. So excellent. I've never had anybody actually have to deal with that being virgins of the Zoom at 8. So anyway, I am excited to have you here tonight. Our viewership, goes out long and wide. We've probably got 5,000 people that are viewing the information. So what you have to say is very, very, very important to so many of us. And I want to know your story. Where did you start? How did you get here today? I know that you were, you have a real deep story. So if you would, Mike, if you would start, tell us your story. Where were you raised? What was your family like? And then Samantha, if you could help us understand where you came from.
Well, I was born in Tennessee about 29 years ago, maybe 30.
That's right. That's right.
I have a 33-year-old daughter on here tonight.
She's 31.
31. That's right. I'm getting way out over my skis here. In Tennessee, lived in Denver, Colorado for a spell growing up, and then Northern Idaho, and then Spokane, Washington. Currently, we split time between Spokane and California. We started our ATM company in about 1996 with one ATM on Samantha's credit card. Drained our bank account about $2,000 to load that so it would run over the weekend. And we've grown that to almost 9,000 ATM machines running all across the United States without any acquisitions. It's all been organic growth for a long period of time.
Samantha.
Yeah. So, so Mike was in the Army. He was actually in the Army when we met. And I was actually selling real estate. I was a real estate assistant at the time when I was in college in San Francisco. So I'm a Bay Area girl. I heard somebody else from the Bay Area here. So at the time I was doing like property management. From there, I segued into some real estate sales. We moved, I got into mortgages. I worked for a title company in between. So all of this was going on. But meanwhile, Mike was working. He had gotten out of the military. He had a job as an x-ray tech and medical assistant. We had just moved. I got a job as a marketer for a physical therapy clinic in his same building. The people there were doing medical billing fraud, and we both got fired within 24 hours of each other because the doctor we worked with told the ownership group we knew what was going on and we were going to turn them in. Now, Mike and I knew nothing about what this person said, but they refused to let us in the building. And we literally got taken down to zero. And at the time, we were just boyfriend and girlfriend. So that was a while ago. In fact, Julie, when you were reading through kind of our resume, I realized, gosh, I must be pretty old to have a resume that long. Because that's 29 history there. But, you know, when you get taken to your knees, you get really creative and you also start figuring out how to not have that happen again. And that's sort of what led us to entrepreneurship. So what looked like a horrible thing at first turned into a blessing. I'm not sure we would have started our own company otherwise, but when you've got your hand, when your life is in somebody else's hands and something goes awry like that, it sort of makes you rethink whether that was the best strategy or not. So ultimately we got into buying single family homes and realized it just wasn't scalable. I think we had seven total. And it just was not, you know, we'd get the call, the toilet's backed up, or, you know, someone moved out. We had one of our first tenants, Mike's laughing. It wasn't funny at the time. We bought a brand new home. They moved in, did about $40,000 worth of damage. We're not sure they ever let their dog outside. They moved out, skipped town, and we ate the whole thing. So ultimately you realize, gosh, I thought this was what you were supposed to do. You know, go to college, get a job, buy a house, try to invest. It wasn't scalable. And meanwhile, we were working with the ATM company. So it's sort of growing. It's sort of got this residual income stream. It kind of gets bigger and bigger. We wanted to do something else. We really had some tax issues. So we were trying to figure out the best way to maybe do something else or start another company. And honestly, none of it seemed very appealing until we found multifamily. And when we realized you can make money off your money, you can actually participate in the upside of the asset appreciation, and you get the depreciation. I just call it the holy trifecta at this point. But we were just super excited to get into it. So that's really kind of what got us to where we are today and wanting to be in this industry in particular. And we're actually on fire about it. So, I mean, less than a year ago, we weren't even really in the space at all. So everything we've done in multifamily has literally been within the past 16 months. And our first GP deal was less than a year ago. And we're just wrapping up our 6th right now.
6 general partners.
Yeah.
We need to update this.
Yeah. Yes. That was last week.
we just closed out on our raise on our 6th general partnership in Tennessee inside of 10 days, raising $18.3 million.
Okay, I just got chills. That is truly amazing. So I want to unpack that. But before we do that, tell me where you came from as a child. I know that your family may have not been in the same position that you are. So kind of walk us through that. Because, you know, a lot of times
it was much easier to have this conversation yesterday when it was just us.
Well, you know what, though, it's a great
story. So yeah. I grew up in a family. We had 5 kids. My parents were on food stamps. My dad was in and out of work quite a bit. My mom had a fairly steady job at a hospital, but raising 5 kids, and we all played sports. We all did extracurricular activities. It just wasn't fun. We ate because the government gave my mom and dad assistance. And I never wanted that to happen for me. So when I got to be about 13 or 14, I don't think I shared this yesterday, I really got into mowing lawns like 6-7 days a week during the summer. I'd make $4 or $5 grand every summer so I could afford to pay for my own tennis shoes, my own cleats, whatever I needed for sports and stuff of that nature. I'd even take my siblings out to ice creams on Saturday because I could afford it and my parents couldn't. So I've always had a drive. I've always been an overachiever. I work really hard. I get married to what I'm doing. Sometimes that's not always the best thing for a family, but we're going to celebrate that coming up starting tomorrow. But we'll talk about that later. But we just get really super focused, and when we do something, we jump in with both feet, and we don't look back. We just go for it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Samantha, what was your growing up like? Was it as...
Yeah, my parents got divorced when I was really young. My dad was actually a pilot for American Airlines. He was a fighter pilot for the Marine Corps. So he kind of had this one life. And then my mom, my brother, my single mom, me and my brother had kind of a different life. Right. And so I kind of got to see both, but I didn't really experience like what my dad had on a daily basis. I think that kept me hungry, but for a while, my bedroom was the walk-in closet of a studio apartment in San Francisco that I shared with my mom. So I like to say that from humble beginnings come hungry hearts, and that, it just kind of keeps you driven. And I don't think we've ever stopped that. It's just kind of in us, I guess.
I think so.
So, you can learn that. I mean, if you don't have that inherently, you don't have to have a crazy backstory to have an amazing life, right? Just create the life that you want. Absolutely. So even if you've come from a great family and a great background, as Alexis, I think has, right. Even if you come from a great background, there's so many ways to just stay motivated and looking forward to drive into the life that you want. So that would be, just sort of my
fantastic.
My on that.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So you're in the ATM, you're, having success there. And you're doing some real estate on the side as well. And that's exciting, but it's not as exciting as multifamily. I mean, I love multifamily. I get up every day and I have a thirst to learn more and to do more. You guys have that as well. How did you go, you're doing this. What was your interest that took you to, it's not just overnight, right? You were part of a mastermind. So if you could tell us a little bit about that and how you came to meeting all of these new people that are in multifamily. Very, very exciting.
So I was actually working in the warehouse one afternoon, and Samantha was on a virtual AIMNetCon podcast, if you will, or for seminar, for lack of a better way to call it. And I come home and Grant Cardone was speaking at the very end, and she goes, I got it. I've got all these freaking notes. You have to go through this with me. And
we have to do this.
And so I listen to her. I jump on and I meet somebody on the chat. And literally a week later, I was investing in our first limited partnership. And this was December of 19. And we're going to the bank to wire $50,000. And she's like, who are we sending this to? I go, I met him in the chat on this Zoom meeting, literally. And we had a one-on-one for like 20 minutes. And I got to know the person. I just got into a deal. Rebecca Moore, if anybody knows who she is. And we're in that deal still today. They haven't sold it yet. But I mean, it's still a fresh deal. But that was our first deal we got into as a limited partnership. And at that point in time, we'd joined Tony Robbins' Platinum Partnership, and we happened to be in New Braunfels. I heard somebody talk there from New Braunfels. We were in New Braunfels doing a date with destiny with a broker that does loans, home loans in that area. And Brad Sumrock had reached out to me. And he said, hey, I see you're in Texas. And he's a Platinum partner. He goes, why don't you come to my Christmas party? And I go, no problem. Send me an invitation. He sends me an invoice to join his mentorship program.
No.
So that I could come to the party. He goes, this isn't a party for my friends. This is a party for the people that are in my program. So I literally pulled out the American Express, sent it. She's like, what the frick are you doing paying that kind of money to go to a Christmas party? Well, I get to the Christmas party. I'm face to face with all these fantastic people that are in multifamily, and I'm getting to know them and understand what they're doing. And we during the first quarter of 2021, 2020 was the first deal. December 2020 was in 19. And January 2020 for the first quarter, we jumped into probably another 8 or 9 limited partnership deals. So even though we have money and we could probably buy our way onto a GP team, if you will, we wanted to be in deals so we could understand understand how the deals work, how the flow works, how the cash works, how the underwriting looks, how to pitch a deal, how to understand a deal. So we did that. And then we got invited into the mastermind at the Sumrock Group. We joined the mastermind, and literally 2 weeks later, a lady approached us and said, "Hey, I think you might want to raise capital on a deal." And we're like, okay. So I had a Zoom with her. I walk across the house and go to Samantha and I go, "Hey, we're going to get married to this lady for about 4 to 5 years." Because when you join a team as a partnership, it's like a marriage, because you're going to be together for a spell. And I go, "We're going to do this." And literally, we went live on a Thursday afternoon about 5 o'clock on this webinar, and we raised $5 million in 3 days.
Like just the two of us.
Just the two of us.
Just the two of us. Now,
well, not to interrupt there, but we had never raised before, so we didn't know whether we could or not. And it wasn't until someone really gave us an opportunity and we tried it, that's when we realized, wow, we know a lot of people who want the same thing we want. And I mean, that's something people always ask us, how do you raise money? And I'm like, people want what you want, or they want to emulate what you're doing, or they want in. And so that's actually kind of been, I don't even know if that's called secret sauce, because it's just sort of like I'm talking to somebody about why I like it, and they end up liking it for the same reasons, right? Because it's such a great investment, I think. So the mastermind and the education gave you the ability to talk about a deal, understand a deal, and how to go and pitch the deal, right?
Yes.
But you have something very special. You have something very special in your personalities. You attract people. People are attracted to you. But in the same token, there are people that want to get to know you. And we talked about this yesterday, how they want to get to know you, but they want you want to be approached in a way that's open and not just, here, invest with me. I need your money. Yes. So I want to hear from you. I know you've got some do's and don'ts or yes and no's that I want to hear from you. When somebody comes, because you're high net worth individuals, what is it that you want to hear from somebody that is asking for either for you to invest in their deal or for you to bring people to their investment? What are those do's and don'ts? Yeah, and I don't know, you can think of some as well. I mean, one of the main things is, if I don't know somebody, and we're talking money, all right, we've all saved our life to have whatever money we've got, that's our life savings. I don't take that lightly, and I don't want someone to approach me like that's not important to me or that I have it to spare. I have some, but it's also spoken for, and I have bills to pay just like anybody else. So one of the things that makes a difference for me is when I have a relationship with someone. I don't really want everything to always be about business. Now it can turn that way. I like talking shop. That's not a problem. But when it starts like that, that's when the problem really kind of falls in. And we were talking about a story. We were at a bus tour. We were touring some properties with a bunch of people. This guy walks up to me. He looks at my name tag and he's like, "Hi, Samantha." And I look at his and I'm like, "Hi, Mr. So-and-so." And he's like, "So what's your net worth?" Wow. I'm like, I just met this guy, right? I was like, "Well, do you have a deal going on or what?" And he's like, "Well, no, I don't. But when I do, I'm going to need to know your net worth. So what is it?" And I just remembered, I'm going to look at his name tag again because I never want to do business with this guy. It was just such a poor approach. It felt icky, that is, you really want to remember this is a long-term game, right? Absolutely. This isn't a quick hit. This is lots of money. I mean, look, most of these deals, minimum $50,000 in, sometimes you'll see the minimum at 100 or more. And that it takes a long time to make that do what it needs to do. And the things that people are looking for to get their returns. This is not short term. Just remember, all your relationships compound over time, and there's no way to short circuit a relationship. Absolutely. Michael, do you have any thoughts on that? Any additional thoughts?
I'm trying to remember exactly what I was saying, but one thing that turns me off is when somebody comes up and they start pitching me and telling me what their deal's going to do for me. I know what the deal's going to do. How about we get to know each other? Because at the end of the day, we're going to need to be friends. We're going to need to be friendly and figure out how to communicate long term. And as an individual that raises a significant amount of capital, I don't get on the phone and tell people what their problems are. They know what their problems are. I have the same problems that they do. How about I share what's going on for me and how I've done things to make my life better, improve my tax situation? How do I not pay as much in taxes? How do I preserve capital? How do I show appreciation? Or am I looking for cash flow, or are you looking for cash flow? Nobody wants to be told what they want to know. They want you to share what you know and how you're going to make their life better. They don't want to be told. And and I say, people that are being told aren't being sold, and they won't buy. And that's a tough lesson to learn, because I probably get 5 to 6 deals a week dropped on my desk that people, and they just text me. I don't know how you got my cell phone number, but they just text me and say, hey, can you raise on my deal? And I'm like, who is this? I mean, Come on, introduce yourself. Hi, how you doing, Mike? Where have you been up to? Are you going? What are you doing this week? Where are you at? Where are you still in Miami? Or are you in California? What's going on? Nobody wants to get to know you or have a conversation. They want to get to business, and it's too quick.
Very, very good point. And I love that you're identifying this, because I think a lot of people think, hey, they've got a lot of money, they're going to want to, just throw it my way, right? So a lot of times what I'm seeing is you got to make that relationship first and foremost. And if you have a deal, you're probably not going to be able to necessarily, in a new relationship, get them to invest, maybe, but to this idea of, I'm here, I have a deal, you're going to invest is kind of it's ridiculous. So maybe you have one deal, maybe you have 2 deals, down the road, and maybe the 3rd deal is when you guys are gonna jump in. So, to reiterate, it's the relationship that you have longer term that are going to attract higher net worth individuals. Would that be a correct statement?
Absolutely. And it'll get them to put more money into your deal. I mean, we have people that got into our first deal and they're in our 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, but now in our 5th and 6th, there's more people that are in our database that are now coming in because they see a track record. They see this isn't just something you're playing around in. You're actually serious about what you're doing. So there's more people coming into deals today than were coming in out of the gate. And there's people that came in out of the gate that they've been in every single deal, like huge dollars. I mean, It's just crazy.
Well, and because we had an ATM company, like we'd been doing that for a long time, the same way all of the people on this call are doing something else also, or we all have backgrounds before we started this. I was actually shy about reaching out to people that we knew from the ATM industry. And it turns out a lot of them were looking for the same thing we were. So I just want to say, those are the relationships you have. You don't necessarily need or even want certain relationships inside multifamily. You want your partners on deals to be in multifamily, but you don't need your investors to be in multifamily because they get everybody else's deal, right? So they're looking at a variety of, I always say, when you're not in multifamily, you can't figure your way in. And when you are, you think everybody does it.
Yeah.
When in fact, it's like all the people you actually know want the exact same thing that you want, which is why you're doing it, but they don't have necessarily the time, the gumption, the connections, et cetera, to do it. You are their entry into this industry. And that's really how we positioned ourselves. Knowing that we were new in the industry, we were like, oh, I guess we can fundraise. I mean, that was the thing we brought to the table first. And then it's just kept going. So, and meanwhile, we're learning more about the underwriting and finding the deals and getting the relationships with brokers, and all of that's been growing. But initially, we didn't have any of that. So what we were bringing to the table was money through connections and through friends and family.
Fantastic. So now that you're more educated and you're looking at these with a finer tooth comb, you now are working on your relationships and making sure that those general partners are doing the job that they are, you've asked them you've hired them basically with your money, right? Now you guys are being the general partners. If someone were to say, hey, I've got a deal, what would you be interested in terms of the location, in terms of the returns, the time frame? What are the metrics that you are looking for that are that will basically seal the deal for you guys? Have you guys outlined that? Like, hey, it's got to be 20% IRR. What is there anything that you guys would be able to share with us?
We actually, over this short period of time, we actually created a deal sheet.
Mm-hmm.
And the deal sheet, and if a general partner comes to us and I don't know them, they get the sheet and they fill it out. It's going to tell me who you are. What's your net worth? What's your liquidity? Are you raising on this deal and another deal? How many deals are you trying to do all at once? How much liquidity will you have post-closing? If you want me to be a partner, are you okay if we have a cash event post-closing that if you can't perform, are you willing to give up your percentage of the GP because I'm going to have to pay for it? And why do you want me on the team if I'm the only one with a high net worth? I mean, there's teams that I'm on that if there's a problem, the lender's going to knock on my door, not theirs, because others don't have the money. So you have to build these things in, and those things are more important to me out of the gate than the actual deal. Everybody gets focused on, is it in Dallas? Is it in Houston? Are we San Antonio? Are we going to Austin, Nashville? I mean, where are we going with the deal? I mean, there's a ton of amazing markets and there's a ton of great deals out there. I mean, right now, I was just on a boat last week with a gentleman, his name's Bobby Castro, buys all of his own deals with his own money. And he's buying A-class properties, putting 40% down. And these are $100 million properties. And he's saying in all the different buyer pools, the buyer pools are getting smaller. So deals are getting crunched a little bit more on cost. So are you paying attention to those metrics in your market? Are you asking the brokers for the best split with the seller? And then when you bring on a team, of course you want to bring on a team that's not just you. You want to have somebody that can bring capital. You want to have somebody that understands the deal in the market. And you want to have somebody that has a great relationship with the broker, because you need all three. And I've seen so many teams where there's a guy that underwrites the deal and his buddy's underwritten it with him, and then his buddy's underwritten it again. And now those three underwriters are out there trying to raise capital, and none of them have an ability to talk to anybody because that's not what they do.
Great.
So they struggle. So it's great to have a buddy. I mean, Sam's my buddy, but she understands numbers a lot better than I do. She's a spreadsheet girl. If she could make spreadsheets for her spreadsheets, but that's not me. I'm the relationship guy. I understand how to talk to people and understand what they want. Let somebody else speak. I mean, I know I'm doing a lot of speaking now, but when you're trying to go out there and talk to people and raise capital, let them do the talking. They're going to tell you everything you need to know and what their problems are, and then you can solve them. You can't solve them if you don't know what they are. So you have to let them talk. There's so many other ways to grab people and get the relationship moving forward. And it doesn't have to be on the first time you meet them. Yeah.
That is a key, really key. Don't be shoving food down somebody's throat if they're not hungry, right? Get to know them. Now, here's my question to you. Where do you guys see yourself? You know, you're all fired up in 16 months, 19 months, whatever the number is. Where are you guys going? Where do you see yourself in the next 3 years, 5 years? Are you going to be taking on more general partners? Are you going to be the ones that are finding the deals? Kind of walk us through that, because, you know, I know there's a lot of people here that have deals and they want to build relationships with folks like you. But if you're not in that lane, we're going to bring you what you need. So kind of walk us through that. What would that look like?
Yeah, well, so look, we started getting into multifamily because we thought it would be a good thing to do with the money we had put away. Like the stock market dipped in the middle of COVID. ATM machines weren't running as much. Same thing, COVID. We wanted to diversify. We just wanted something smart to do with our money. So initially we're like, hey, we'll LP and we don't have to do anything. Like that works. Ultimately, as we start getting into deals and getting into the GP side where you get part of the GP split, right? Now it occurs to me, okay, 3 years-ish from now, some of those deals are going to be selling. Now I've got more money than what I started with, right? So, and I'm going to want to reinvest that money into other deals. Like, I don't want to take it out. I just want to, like, I call it playing with the house's money, right?
Yeah.
I can take my money back out that I started with if I want to, or I just keep rolling it into other deals with the profit that I've made. And eventually that should in and of itself help create additional revenue that's, you know, paying my bills, et cetera. But what I really think would happen over time is that gets big enough that maybe I'm just partnering with people and we're doing, you know, JV deals where there's 2, 3, 4 people that go in on one building. Now that's like a 5 to 10 year plan at that point. So temporarily, or I would say more short term, within 3 years, we've actually been happy partnering with people that are experts in their own area. So this is the one thing, if you're in whatever, Nashville, or somebody else is in a suburb of Texas, you know, you're going to know your area the best, and I might not necessarily know them. So I have to kind of get up to speed, but you're working your area. I'm finding investors that want the returns wherever those areas are. And some of the best deals are not in the bigger cities, right? They're just outside, and that's where there's, you know, money to be made and people are coming in. So if I take my money, I kind of let it work for me, right? That's why this is a long-term game. Then I take it, I'm putting it into something else. And then eventually we're still growing. I don't think we're ever going to lose the passion for letting other people into the industry. Like, it's such a great investment tool that I never knew existed for all the various reasons, right? I mean, it was a tax play for us
Simply,
as well.
Right? Just simply.
So I just kind of want to keep helping people do that, but to what level? So I think we will JV some deals. I think we'll still always keep on the GP side with deals that we like, and that we're always going to be interested in things that give our investors the best returns. So
and not to interrupt, but you know, you guys are going to have 2 years of being general partners. That's going to open up a huge amount of scalability. You know, when you're from a lender standpoint, you have to have 2 years with 3 to 5 transactions. So these guys will be sponsors to your deals. So that needs to start today. The relationship with these guys is today. The relationship with other high net worth individuals is today for deals that are going to be 2 to 3 years. Okay. And I really want to make sure that I'm driving that home, everybody. The relationship is key. You know, we can get through difficult times if you've got a good relationship. Okay. So it's critical to the success for these guys and for yourself and for the transaction. Okay. You have a fiduciary responsibility to your investors. Okay. And those start with the relationship. So, all right. Words of wisdom. You know, you guys are, you know, in your early 30s, so you probably don't have as much wisdom as some of the other people here. But no, seriously, words of wisdom. What do you want to share? Michael, you go first. What are your words of wisdom for anybody that's sitting here listening to your story, came from nothing, and have really excelled past many of the people that we know?
One of the sayings that I really like is success leaves clues, and proximity is power. So you want to be around people that are doing deals and growing themselves. Nobody wants to emulate somebody that's not doing something more than what they're doing. So that's one of the toughest ones to learn, but you have to be watching what's going on around you and watch who's doing it. I mean, I was just in a room of 500 people a week ago, and you look around the room and 20% of those people at the most will be doing deals as a general partner. That the other 80% will want to be the general partner, but they won't want to put in the work. And in any sales environment, we know that 80% of the deals are done by 20% of the people. So watch the people that are doing it and do what they're doing if you want to be where they're at.
That was lovely. That was Amazing. Drop the
Drop
mic.
the mic.
Drop the mic. That was really powerful.
Francie, I see you there.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay. I don't sell what you don't buy. Okay. Like if you're not in on a deal, like then how are you selling it to anybody else? So people want to know that you're in on the deal. If you're trying to get into the industry, another tip is to help someone else who's doing a deal. You can at least say you helped them get there, right? Or, oh, I was working with a team who did X, Y, and Z. Even if you didn't really do anything, you're trying to build your resume, because ultimately, when you go out to people, you're going to be met with skepticism. You're doing it new. You have no history potentially, and you need to point to something to show people like, oh, I was on this deal. I worked with that. I helped this thing. I helped these people with, getting into a particular deal. Any amount that you can say you've helped is still more than nothing. I'm just looking at some of the things we've talked about in the past. So that's getting on a team and helping one. Oh, one of the other things, and I think this is sort of underutilized as far as like knowledge. A lot of people do a 506B, a private offering, as opposed to a 506C, a public offering. 506Bs never hit the open market. They're only like friends and family. It's literally, who do I know who's on my list, which feel free to sign up to our mailing list, right? But to stay in touch, because otherwise you don't get the deal flow. But that's what makes you valuable, is if you actually have the entree into those deals. So it is actually important that you understand the difference between those and realize that other people can't get in without knowing somebody. So get to know people. Like I'll sit on a Zoom meeting like this and I'll be quiet, or like not with my video on. I do it all the time. I don't know if I get shy or what. And then I don't like reach out to those people ever again. And I think, oh, thanks for that information. That was worth my time. And then I never really thank them. I wouldn't think to send them an email, but these are relationships. We are building them right now. So don't think that your time right now is not valuable enough to then continue. Look at all the other people in this chat. Look at all the information. Everybody's I'm watching it. Their information. Reach out to these people. We literally have gotten into deals from people we've met in chats. We've also met them in person maybe, and we've done other due diligence on them, but it actually started with a group like this. So don't mistake that that's actually literally how it can get done.
Amazing.
And another thing, you want to pick up the phone and talk to people. I mean, that's so overlooked. I was just on another Zoom with Ruth, with our mastermind, and somebody was complaining that they're in the middle of a deal and can't raise capital. And they're saying it's because we raised capital at the same time on our Tennessee deal. And I just don't find that to be, because I didn't even see the guy's postings. So it doesn't really make any sense. But you have to get on the phone and have a conversation. I was literally on the phone yesterday with a guy, and he's like, I want to be on the GP team. And I go, don't we all? I go, people do business with people who do business with them. I go, if you don't want to put money in our deal, please don't ask me to help you, because I'd love to help you, and I don't mind. But when I was capital raising, and I know he wants to be a GP on a team, and he's got plenty of liquidity, but he wants to take up 45 minutes of my time, and he doesn't want to put any money into a deal. How am I supposed to help you? You know what I mean? So we all want to lift each other up, but we also want to continue to move the ball forward. Yeah,
absolutely. 100%. Man, oh man, what great words of wisdom. And I'm just so thankful that you're here sharing. I'd love to see if anybody has any questions for our guests, Sam and Michael, Mike and Samantha. Their names work both ways. So if you have a question, let's have it. Come on, let's ask the questions. Or have they done just a phenomenal job answering all your questions? Anne-Marie, you're new here. What questions do you have? Oh man, I put her on the spot.
I was on mute, sorry. I am, and I had the fortunate pleasure of meeting Michael and Samantha a couple weeks ago at the RTR event. So, and I'm glad I was able to jump on and listen to them again today. It's the tidbits of wisdom and knowing that it really is all about relationships and getting to know the people that you're going to do business with, over the next 3 to 5 years and beyond is what's most important. So I appreciate that reiteration of that, because it is awkward when someone walks up and just says, "Hey, my name is," and how much are you worth?
That is nuts.
Very awkward.
That's nuts. Rick Thomas, what do you got? You have any questions, Rick? Scott Henson, what about you?
Greg Butcher.
Greg Butcher. Who's got a question? Anybody else? This is your opportunity. If you come and say, "Yes, I've got a deal," I'm sure they're going to turn off their cameras. So don't ask them if you got a deal that you need them.
Here's a question. How did the
Okay, my question is, can I take you guys to lunch?
I'm brand new to this, so.
Who's got a question? I heard somebody.
Wait, what were you saying, Greg?
This is David.
I was just being facetious. I said, my question is, can I take you guys to lunch tomorrow since you're right down the street?
Yeah.
I know my question is, when are we going to Italy?
That's true. Okay, wait, David had a real question, I think.
Yeah, David.
So I think you probably already have said this, but in terms of just to kind of get it clarified, if you like, one of the things as far as like what I look for in like a general partnership team is somebody like if everybody, all the general partners are investing in their own deals, because I've run into a certain things and it's kind of like if you're not willing to put your own money into the deal, why are you wanting me to put my money into your deal? So just was wondering like what you guys think about that, kind of it sounds like you might feel the same way, but just if you can speak to that for a little bit.
So one of my rules when I'm looking at a deal, if someone's presenting a deal, I ask like, how much are they putting in? Most of the time they will answer that. They should want to answer that. And then I want to know what kind of acquisition fee they're getting for completing the deal. And so we had listened to somebody's pitch. There were 3 different partners. They were all putting in $50,000 for a total down of $150,000. And like their acquisition fee was $200,000. So imagine I put 50,000 in and I'm going to get whatever, 70,000, whatever back. And I have no skin in the game. And this guy, he was new to the industry. We were also at the time, we called him right after the webinar and we were like, "Hey, you guys did a nice presentation. It was all good. But hey, what about this?" And we are like, "You're putting 50,000 down, but you're going to get like 70, whatever, 80,000 back as soon as the deal closes because you're splitting that acquisition fee. So you have no skin in the game." And he said, I'll never forget this. He said, "Wow, I never even thought about it like that." And I'm thinking,
how
else do you think about it? So I was like, well, that kind of told me a lot. Like you have to remember, right, that you're putting your hard-earned money with somebody and they should be more interested in your return on the deal than what they're getting out of the deal. And if they don't have any skin in the game, what is their interest? So we always ask that, and we always put our own money into a deal.
Here's another one that just came up. I got approached by some people I met at a show in Vegas not too long ago. They have a deal in, I'm not going to name the state because then somebody might know them, but they offered me 10% to put the hard money up to $300,000. It was a 70-30 split. 10% of the, or 10 points out of the 30 to put up the hard money, 10 more points for net worth and liquidity, and another 5 points to help raise all the capital. So now I have 25 of the 30 points.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think is going to end up operating that deal when it closes? They're not going to have any, they don't give a hoot anymore. They're going to sit back and go, well, you own it all.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to do all the work. Well, that's not, for me, that's not scalable. I need to be in a deal where I'm equally yoked with the people I'm joining in with, so we can bring each other up and bring the deal up. So you have to pay attention to what somebody's offering you and as to what you have to do. And to David's point, I won't jump in a deal as a limited partner if the general partnership team, it doesn't have at least as much money in as I am putting in.
Love it. Great answer. Casey, what do you got?
Hey there. Yeah, so I was, first of all, thank you for all that very valuable information. I'm Melissa's partner. She's on the call too. And Our first deal was a struggle to raise 250. The fact that you guys raised 5 million in 3 days is beyond impressive. Beyond. I was just wondering, was that a 506B? It was just friends and family. It was just all people that you guys knew.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, one of the things is, and this is a tip, I forgot we add this to the list of tips, I guess, is you want to tell people what you're doing before you need to ask for money.
Yes.
Right. So we were getting into the industry, but we used to talk to friends like, what are you doing with your investments? What other things are you looking at? Like, what do you know about Bitcoin as a, for instance, right? Everybody says that. And I'm like, what makes it go up and down? I don't really get it, you know? So we were talking to people about multifamily before we were in it. So that by the time we actually got into a deal and said, hey, you know, and I will give, I want to give Brad Sumrock special props here. So if you don't know him, he's in Dallas, Texas area. He runs a program that teaches people how to do multifamily. But it was through his program, right? Like we're learning about multifamily that we were able to, you know, get the knowledge we needed to start talking to people. But meanwhile, the whole time before we even got into a deal as a GP, we were telling people what we were doing. They're like our friends, you know, we're like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? We're like, oh, we're going to Dallas. We're going to a multifamily conference. You know, that investment thing we were talking about. Yeah, that's what and we were just having conversation. There was no sale in it at the point, but it was through that people understood we were doing it. And so, I don't know, maybe 5 months in, they see that we've gone to Dallas a few times, or we can't go out to dinner tonight. We have a webinar. They realized we were serious about what we did. And I think that really helps that first deal.
Yeah, no, we've gotten a lot better at it. We've raised, Melissa, four deals now, I think. And
4 deals.
Yeah.
A few million.
Yeah.
Not as much as y'all.
But we have raised quite a bit of capital, and one of them was with Julie.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Can I give you the hot tip?
Yeah, I want the hot tip.
The super hot tip that I love.
What's the hot tip?
Video text messages to people.
Yes.
Video text messages. Interesting.
Mike's like, hey, secret sauce. If you do a video message, text message, really to anyone, I mean, this could be, you know, outside of the industry, right? Just to say hi to a friend, anything. When you send a video to somebody and you're like, hey, Casey, how's it been? Man, it's been a while. I was just thinking about you, wanted to say hi. Hope you're having a great day. And they see that you're looking at your friend talking to you. It feels totally different than any other text message you'll get. It really stands out. And we use it a lot when we're fundraising.
Never thought of that. Thank you. That's awesome.
Great tip. All right.
Here's another. I apologize. Just one more little tip.
More.
So I was at a meetup with Jesse Itzler. He's a pretty famous guy. He texts on average, video texts his 5 friends a day, 5 days a week, and he goes through his list. That way, you're staying fresh on somebody's mind. You're not just jumping in front of them when it's time to raise capital again.
Wow.
If you just come at somebody when you're looking to and showing the opportunity off, they're going to go, they're just coming for more money. They don't care about me. And the one other hot tip, send a thank you when it's over.
Always.
Everybody on our list that comes into our deals through us gets a really nice, and I just got a text while we're here and somebody's enjoying it tonight. So I'm not going to say what it is because we have current investors on the call, and I don't want everybody to know what they may or may not get laid down.
We send a nice gift. It's important. It's important to be thankful for the people that help you get there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So wonderful, you guys. All right. We could talk forever, and how do we get a hold of you? You probably don't want to have a bunch of phone calls. So how should we reach out to you? What would you like?
So Mike had put some information in the chat. Right. It's got his Calendly link. Our company name is actually CypressAdvantageProperties.com. You could sign up for our newsletter there. And that just kind of like, we'll send you deal flow. We'll send you, information about multifamily. That's generally how we're staying in touch with our investor base. So that's certainly one way to do it. Mike's putting that also in the chat. So those are really the best ways. Mike sort of takes the front end of all of that. So you'll see his name and phone number there. And then I'm helping him go through those things and answer people back as well. So you might hear from either one of us back.
Well, that is fantastic. I'm sure you'll be getting lots of video messages after tonight's visit.
Do it.
But I do want to thank you both from the bottom of my heart. I'm so grateful to know you, to get to know you better, to share you with my community here. And if there is an opportunity that you can help one of our folks here, we would love it, and we'd be grateful for anything that you can do for them. I want to thank you for that. So